Browns fans, welcome into the Browns Live schedule release special presented by Vivid Seats official fan experiences. Nathan Zagura along with the future Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. And Joe, here we are, the biggest Browns season ever. 17 games for the first time. And tonight we are going to exclusively unveil this schedule to the Browns fans before they can get it anywhere else. But I got to ask you, was this a big deal in your playing days? Did you look at the schedule? And if so, what were you looking at? All right, we're having some technical difficulties there, unfortunately, with Joe. We don't have his mic at this time, but we do know this. We're going to get you the Browns schedule before anybody else tonight here on Browns Live. And not only that, you can tune in at 8 o'clock to NFL Network for full coverage of the schedules around the National Football League. But you're going to get it here first. We're working to get Jadavian Clowney on the program here tonight. So let's start with what we know. And what we know is that the Browns schedule in 2021 is going to start where their season ended in 2020. The Week 1 matchups have been announced for the 2021 NFL season. It will be the Browns at the Kansas City Chiefs, the two-time reigning AFC champions. And for the Browns, it's an opportunity for revenge, where they suffered a 22-17 loss in the divisional round of the playoffs, putting an end to what was a magical season for the Cleveland Browns last year. So you look at this new look defense of the Cleveland Browns, boy, they're going to get tested right out of the gate as we bring back in Joe Thomas. And Joe, what a test at the beginning of the season for the Browns going to the Chiefs. But let's go back to what I tried to ask you earlier. As a player, how big was this schedule for you? What were you looking at?
Well, I was saying that this is Christmas morning for us fans, but, for the players, we also loved it too, because we got to find out, who we're going to play in when it's hot and humid in the beginning of September, and who you're going to be playing when hopefully the AFC North Division crown was on the line and the snowflakes were flying in First Energy Stadium. So this is a big day for everybody that's involved with the Cleveland Browns organization.
Well, Joe, I know that the last time the Browns were in Kansas City, you had to hold you back in the luxury box. You're ready to run on the field as left tackles were dropping like flies. It was almost a Disney movie with that comeback there. But if you're the Browns, you know how your season ended a year ago. What a great year it was to get an opportunity Week 1 to go on the road right back there, take on, as I said, the two-time AFC defending champions. That's got to be pretty exciting and a great measuring stick right out of the gate.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly, as a player, who you want to go back and face in your Week 1 matchup, because we've been talking all offseason about this new look Browns defense, all the guys that they're going to be getting back from injury, all the new faces from the draft and free agency, and everybody's got this really good feeling, and it's going to continue through training camp, that this defense is a defense that we can win a championship with, and you're going to get tested to find out real quick if this is a defense that can go to Kansas City, where your season ended last year, and to be able to win on their turf. That would be an unbelievable statement game for this new look Browns defense.
It certainly would be. And they say oftentimes early on in the season, maybe the defense has some advantages. Well, that's typically not true when you're taking on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. How do you think for a defense that's going to have potentially 9 new starters? 9 new starters. Jadavian Clowney, one of them. We hope to have him join us here soon. But 9 new starters. How do you think about that group for Joe Woods trying to gel in time for this showdown? Because, look, the Chiefs, we know they're going to put points on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually see this as a little bit of a Browns advantage, because that's going to be the first game that the Browns defense, with all those 9 new starters, are going to actually be giving a full game plan, because you don't do a full game plan when you're going through your preseason games. And so we know pretty much who the Kansas City Chiefs are going to look like on offense, who they're going to be, but they don't exactly know who the Browns are going to be on defense. And this is going to be an opportunity for that Browns defense to maybe sneak up and throw some new wrinkles at the Kansas City Chiefs that they have not seen yet.
This is something that I've talked about a lot, is that Joe Woods said last year, look, we played only 16 snaps a dime. This year we want to play 400 plus So that's something that the Chiefs aren't going to have the benefit of being on tape and or seeing on tape this year when the Browns go take them on. And so it's going to be some new looks for Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. I like that. Finding the positivity, finding the angle, as I think we're about to get one of the new members here of this Browns defense. Jadavian Clowney, the former #1 overall pick in the NFL draft, is set to join us here on the Browns Live schedule release special in just a moment. And I believe we've got him now. So let's bring him in. One of the newest members of the Cleveland Browns, Jadavian Clowney, is with us here on the program. And Jadavian, good to see you again. Last time we talked to you had just signed with the Browns, and now here you are a little bit into your Browns tenure. We know one game on the schedule. It's the Browns and the Chiefs, and you get an opportunity to get after Patrick Mahomes, Jadavian.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, getting going with the teammates. Like I said, getting training camp and that bond going, that just go get out there, our jelly, and getting after that up front. Looking forward to a big year and where to go.
Jadavian, you played with one of the all-time greats when you were in Houston and J.J. Watt. How exciting is it for you to be able to match up with one of the up-and-coming greats in Myles Garrett?
I'm looking forward to this matchup because when I was in Houston, it was kind of strange because JJ was healthy when I was hurt, and I was healthy. He was hurt. We was kind of never together healthy at the same time. It was not what we wanted. But I'm looking forward to this year. Myles Garrett coming in, they're both healthy, and just trying to dominate the track. It's going to be crazy.
I love seeing that big smile. And listen, our fans are smiling. They know the Browns schedule. They're going to get it here, but they also have questions for you, Jadavian. And the first one comes from Zach N. from the Backers on the Bay. You mentioned Myles Garrett there, and his question simply, how reinvigorating is it playing opposite someone like Myles Garrett? And I'm going to throw a wrinkle out there. We talked before about your versatility. We could see you not just playing opposite Myles Garrett. We could see you next to him over a guard with him outside. We could see Myles next to over a guard with you outside. That versatility, I think, is going to be a lot of fun and create a lot of one-on-one matchups.
Oh, yes, sir. That's one of the biggest reasons I signed because I think him and I was a lot of habit, the offensive lineman. And with the matchup, I think he said we can go in the front and get out the quarterback. So it's going to be special. We just got to stay healthy and stay on the field.
Jadavian, you and I lined up across from each other several times throughout our career. A few times they would put JJ over there, and you guys would run some of those line games and line stunts. Joe Woods is going to be your defensive coordinator here in Cleveland. What do you know about his defense, and what makes you excited to be playing in that defense for Joe Woods?
What I do know is he lets the front go. He lets guys play up front, not being robots, just let them go. Being playmakers and not the quarterback. Like you said, running them games, it helps when everybody comes in games, and you never know what we're talking about. And I think that's what he brings to say we play it from everywhere.
Jadavian, I was talking with Joe Woods after you were brought in, and he shared something with me, and I'm not sure if he shared this with you yet, but he said when he became the defensive coordinator in Denver, the first thing he did was watch all the third downs and blitz packages from Houston. Why? Because he loved the way they use you, and he actually took some of that and incorporated it in Denver for Von Miller, and Miller went on to have some very successful seasons doing that. So he told me, man, I'm thrilled. Now I'm getting the real guy that I was watching to be here in this defense. So you know you got a fan in Joe Woods.
Yeah, because the first thing he told me when I got there, I've been watching that tape, and I put in, I was like, I'm glad you're I want to play with you. You already watching me, and we can figure out how to use it. So I'm looking forward to what he brings to the table.
This will be your first time playing in the AFC North. We've got some speedy quarterbacks, namely a guy named Lamar Jackson. What do you think that you can bring to the Browns defense to help eliminate an offensive threat like a guy like Lamar Jackson can bring, the way he can attack a defense?
I think it's going to be back launch. Everybody chasing. No one man can take down. It's going to be everybody chasing, everybody around. Getting home, when the team chasing everybody, you know how it is. Everybody the ball is going to cause a lot of hurt.
All right, we got another one of our fan questions here on the Browns Live scheduled release special presented by Vivid Seats, official fan experience from Lauren Kay from the Bowling Green's Browns backer. She says, what excites you the most about being a part of the Cleveland Browns in 2021, Jadavian?
I think when you look at us on paper, we got a team that can go pretty far. We just got to put it together and go from there and show the people, show the world what we make. Like I said, on first, I looked at this team, I was like, we got to fight and group the white. As far as receivers, running back, front, both sides, defense, special teams. I'm just looking forward to what we can, as a unit, as a team, to go out there and perform together.
You guys are opening the season at Kansas City. The Chiefs offense, they've been one of the best offenses in the NFL for several years now. How important is it for you guys on defense to send a message and make a statement in that game that this is a new Browns defense, and this is a defense that can take this team to a championship?
It all starts with the front, up front. Defense line, second tone. I was in told that all my life. I've been playing football. Like I said, it's all with us, and we got to get out there and pressure them home and compete today. Best. And we got to get out there. All happens well, cause what happens when you get pressure up front. And that's what we got to do all season.
Jadavian, real quick, last question. We really appreciate the time. What has your experience been like so far with your new head coach, Kevin Stefanski? And I know he's been emphasizing probably one word a lot: work.
Exactly. He been staying on me. And in touch with this offseason, thank you. I've been working. I'm just telling him I seen videos, guys clips. Just know I'm working, putting in work, and I'll be ready to go when the time comes.
There's no doubt about it, Jadavian. We thank you so much for joining us here. Can't wait to see you up here in Berea when the Browns get on the field. But the moment you've all been waiting for, it is coming when we return on the Browns Live schedule release special presented by Vivid Seats Official Fan Experiences. It was time for the look at the biggest Browns schedule ever, exclusively on Browns Live.
They are ready. The athletes. The artists, the performers. Are you? Download the Vivid Seats app. Add your favorites. Know when popular sports, concerts, and theater events are happening near you. When you're ready, Vivid Seats will be ready for you.
Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats.
Taco Bell's Quesalupa is back with its cheese stuffed shell. But there's nothing worse than overhype.
Here it is.
So we'll skip the speeches and the influencers.
Hello?
Cut the fanfare.
Man.
And the pyro.
Man.
So don't hold on to your seats. We're just here to tell you. The Quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back. And we think you'll like it.
We are endlessly committed to our clients. Our dedication can be felt with every phone call, every conversation, every step of the way, to a resolution that can change everything. We are there for every client, every day. Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries.
All right, guys, thank you. Thank you so much. It's always been a dream to lift with friends. Weight going up?
It's important to know your limits in life and when you gamble.
Was that pounds or kilos?
Get more helpful tips like this at keepitfunohio.com.
They are ready. The athletes. The artists. The performers. Are you? Download the Vivid Seats app. Add your favorites. Know when popular sports, concerts, and theater events are happening near you. When you're ready, Vivid Seats will be ready for you.
Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats.
Welcome back to the Browns Live schedule release special presented by Vivid Seats Official Fan Experiences. Nathan Zagura and Joe Thomas, and the moment is near. What are the primetime games going to be? We know the season opener. What about the home opener? What about week 18 for the first time ever? Is that going to be a home game? Is it going to be on the road in the division? Well, folks, wait no longer, because the time is now. Here is your 2021 Cleveland Browns schedule, and we are going to start, Joe Thomas, in Kansas City, the home opener. Week number 2 at home against the Texans. Week 3, home against the Bears. Week 4 on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin Stefanski returning to Minnesota. Stay on the road to LA for the Chargers road trip. Circle that one. Then you come back home for 3 in a row. The Cardinals, the Broncos on Thursday Night Football, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now that is your first division game. Then you go week 9 on the road to the Bengals, week 10 at the Patriots, home for the Lions, and then how about this? Week 12 Sunday Night Football in Baltimore, followed by the bye week, followed by week 14 at home and the Baltimore Ravens. Week 15, the Raiders of Vegas. Week 16, Christmas Day in Green Bay against the Packers. Week 17, Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh. And then week 18, at home to wrap it up against the Bengals. And we bring in Joe Thomas now. And Joe, we're going to kind of break this thing up here into quarters in a second. But as you saw that, anything jump out to you initially?
Where everything started for him. He's definitely going to have that one circled. And then I love the fact that they're going to be playing back-to-back games against the Baltimore Ravens with a bye in between. That's going to be a huge advantage for the Cleveland Browns because they're basically going to be practicing to play the same team for 3 weeks in a row. The Ravens don't have that same luxury because they're going to have to play a game in between. So a few things in there that I think can really play to the Browns' advantage.
All right, let's get into this first quarter of the season. Now, look, we have 4 quarters again this year. The last one just have 5 games. Week 1 at the Kansas City Chiefs. We've talked about that a lot. Now, week 2 and 3, you go on the road, then you get to come home, and I think this is a part of the schedule that looks very good for the Browns. We don't know what's happening with Deshaun Watson and the Texans, and could this be Justin Fields returning to Ohio to lead the Chicago Bears? When you see those 2 at home, Joe, as a player, you're saying, okay, home opener, the Texans, let's get rolling. Let's get ourselves in the win column.
Absolutely. Obviously, it's a huge one to start in Kansas City, and then things soften up just a little bit there with Houston and Chicago, especially with the unsettling of the Chicago quarterback position. That could be fun if Justin Fields, like you mentioned, is playing, if he's starting at that point in the season. Then you go to Minnesota. You got a really good opportunity to get to that first quarter-ish of the season. Now that they're playing 17 games, it's kind of weird to say that it's a quarter-ish, but I think they can be in a really good position at that quarter mark after 4 games, going into a little bit of a tougher stretch of the schedule.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And for Kevin Stefanski, that game is going to be incredible. There's going to be a lot of emotion, I'm sure, returning there to Minnesota. But you're right. You get out to a good start against Kansas City. You go out there. I love this, by the way. Hoff, how could you have taken the 2021 Browns? Everybody's talking about how great they are on paper and make them an immediate underdog. You send them to Kansas City, and I think that's some good bulletin board material already for the boys in the locker room.
Absolutely. You know, for the Browns defense, they're going to be talking all training camp about how we're a new team. We're different than the team that was on the field last year when Matt Moore converted that long yardage 3rd or 4th down. Can't remember what it was, but that was the nail in the coffin for the Browns season. So this defense, they want to have a rallying cry of we're a new defense, and they get an opportunity to prove it right there in week 1. That's exactly the way you want to draw it up.
I like that. We're not going to speak the name of the quarterback who ran for those 14 yards or whatever it is ever again. Done to us. And guess what? It's done for that defense because it is a new look Browns defense. So now we go into the second quarter of the season. 2 home, 2 road in the first quarter. Second quarter, 3 in a row at home here at one point. But it starts week 5 on the road again against the LA Chargers. And this is a team led by Justin Herbert and Joey Bosa on the defensive side that I think's frisky. They're dangerous. Herbert had an incredible rookie season last year, Joe.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see Herbert in a new offense that might even fit him a little bit better. What type of a sophomore bump does he get playing in that new offense that fits him? The Chargers, by all accounts, had a great draft. Everybody really liked what they did, helping protect Justin Herbert and build a really good team around him. So this is going to be the Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert battle right here, and it'll be fun. If we're able to come home from LA, from that sunshine and the beautiful beaches with a win there, you're going to be feeling really good coming home. You're going to play against Arizona, who's going to be frisky. Like you said, the schedule stiffens up here in the middle part here now, Arizona, Denver, but you got them at home. So you got to feel really good going into that Thursday game against the Denver Broncos to be able to set yourself up for a really strong middle of your schedule.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Arizona, Herbert and, of course, Baker Mayfield. We've already seen Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray won down in Arizona. Did not go the way the Browns wanted it to late in that 2019 season, but now an opportunity for a rematch there, and this time on Baker's home turf. So some great young quarterback matchups there. Then you get into the Denver Broncos, and hey, who knows? This is a Thursday night game now, but maybe it looks a little bit different by the time we get there. This is a team that has so much talent on offense, Joe, and of course Von Miller on the defense. But they're a team that right now has one question at quarterback. It's Drew Lock. But the rumors about Aaron Rodgers, they won't stop a swirling with those Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and Denver definitely with John Elway at the helm, knowing that he did it once before with Peyton Manning. He's got the team again right now, but like you mentioned, does not have the quarterback. They're really the favorite. If Aaron Rodgers does get traded, it's probably going to be to the Denver Broncos. And can you imagine what type of a game that would be with Aaron Rodgers and that stacked Denver Broncos team coming to First Energy Stadium on Thursday Night Football? I'll be there, Nathan, me and Colleen and Steve Smith and Irv.
Let's go.
The atmosphere is going to be electric. Let's go.
Oh, boy, it is going to be a real treat. I want to ask you, though, as a player, everybody knows that these Thursday night games come. They're not always loved by the players. Is it better? We've mostly done them in the division, to be honest. We've had Cincinnati here. I remember, of course, in 2014, who could forget that great game down in Cincinnati that catapulted the Browns into first place at the time? It's kind of been those shorter trips. Is there an advantage for the Browns with the Broncos having to fly on a short week from the West Coast and come, well, not quite the coast, but the Rocky Mountains, and come east and take on the Browns on that short week, having to do a big travel day?
Yeah, I'm always still thinking like a player. Like I'm looking at that schedule, trying to figure out where are the advantages that we have over our opponents. I mentioned earlier on being able to play the Ravens back to back and they have a bye in between. But this is another one that I think is going to be a big advantage because when you've got a team that's got to travel across a couple different time zones, they got to go at least a 3+ hour flight there from Denver. That's going to be an advantage because those Thursday night games are short turnaround. And it is, everybody's feeling sore from the week before, but you lose preparation time when you have to make those big travel trips like Denver's going to have to. So having that Thursday night game at home is a big advantage for the Cleveland Browns.
And the other advantage that comes from it is that you get that weekend off. You get 10 days until your next game, which happens to be Week 8 at home, Pittsburgh Steelers. And by the way, that's the first AFC North game of the season for the Browns. Not until Week 8, which means of the final 10 games, 6 will be in the division, kicking off right there with the Steelers.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a quirk how all of these AFC North games are kind of the second half of the schedule, but it was definitely intentional by the NFL. They want to put those division games later on in the season to make sure that they're all meaningful. And I love how we're going to be able to have that Thursday night game, get a little bit extra rest, something that the Steelers won't have, assuming that they don't have a bye week before that. But to be able to play them then on Halloween in Cleveland, I mean, talk about a spooktacular right there. To be able to have the Browns do what they did, maybe again, kind of double down on that playoff performance that they had over the Pittsburgh Steelers right there, I think would just keep the ball rolling and keep that good feeling flowing all the way through the costume party on October 31st.
That's right, the big Halloween bash, Halloween havoc they're calling it, the Browns and the Steelers, and that would wrap up normally the first half of the season. But wait, it's the biggest Browns season ever, 17 games. So we don't really have a halfway game. That's game 8.5. We don't have that. So that kind of wraps up the traditional first half of the season. And now we get into the third quarter. We stay in the division on the road at Cincinnati, at the New England Patriots, home for the Lions, and then the very first one of those two games at the Baltimore Ravens. That's Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. But let's start with the Bengals and Joe Burrow, who played very, very well. And that Bengals team, you go back and you look at those games when he was on the field, they were pretty good, very competitive. I think they're a dangerous offense. You throw Jamar Chase in the mix there. That's not one that you can take lightly, and that's one of the games, Joe, where I think this remade secondary is going to come in very handy for the Browns.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I are just like fans. We're looking at the schedule and trying to circle games. All right, this is going to be a win. This is going to be a loss. But this stretch of the season, these next 3 games, these were 3 teams right here that did not have very good seasons in 2020, but they've overhauled their team a great bit. Even the Cincinnati Bengals, like you mentioned, they're adding a bunch of weapons because of where they picked in the draft and what they added on offense. New England Patriots might even have a new quarterback. They've got a ton of new guys that they signed in free agency, a bunch of guys coming back that were COVID opt-outs. So the New England Patriots are going to look totally different than they did last year. And then the Detroit Lions, Matt Stafford will not be their quarterback for the first time in a long time. They got Jared Goff in a trade from the LA Rams. And this could be a totally different team, too, with Dan Campbell biting kneecaps on November 21st. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in First Energy Stadium, make sure you wear your knee pads because Dan Campbell is coming to town with his Detroit Lions.
Yeah, you got to protect those knees in that one. And then we wrap up this third quarter and start the final quarter with the Baltimore Ravens. This is only the second time in Browns franchise history they will play the same opponent in 2 consecutive games. The first of these on the road, Sunday Night Football. Everybody's going to be watching this one. I think it's a huge game, and I think it's pretty incredible. You do not get the Ravens until week 12 in this schedule, and you'll get them again week 14.
Yeah, obviously it's way too early to make prognostications about how people are going to be, but that's exactly what we get paid to do, Nathan. So
that's right.
I really think this division is going to come down to the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, and what a great advantage to be able to play both of these games back-to-back for the Browns with a bye in between. It gives you the week of practice before the first game at Baltimore. Then you get to, on Monday morning, review the film and then start working on corrections and then start practicing that entire bye week to go play the Baltimore Ravens again, this time at home. So you're going to be able to have 3 weeks of preparation to go against the best team in your division besides yourself, and to be able to come up with great game plans, get those players ultra ready, and maybe sweep the Baltimore Ravens and put yourself solidly in first place in the AFC North coming out of that December 12th game at First Energy Stadium.
Yeah, and a little birdie told us the Ravens do not enjoy a Week 13 bye in the middle of those 2 games. So you're right, an advantage there for the Browns, and one that I think you're going to need to capitalize on to win the AFC North, which should be your goal. And we mentioned the Ravens. They kick off the final quarter of the season, those final 5 games for the Cleveland Browns. You got Baltimore at home at 1 p.m. on December the 12th. Then Week 15. Now, this could be a Saturday or a Sunday game against the Las Vegas Raiders. That is home as well. And then you go Week 16 at the Green Bay Packers. That is Christmas Day, that game. That is a marquee matchup, as marquee as it gets. The NFL saying, this is a showcase game for you. NBA, we're coming for you. Browns, Packers, 4:30. That's on Fox, NFL Network, and Amazon. And then you go Monday Night Football. Coming off the Saturday, a big one in Pittsburgh. Monday Night Football, the last time the Browns played under the lights in Pittsburgh. Well, it was a beatdown, and we all enjoyed that thoroughly. And then you finish it up at home with the Bengals. So 2 primetime games. Your final 5 involve every team in your division. Christmas at Green Bay. Monday night is the Steelers game, as well as the Las Vegas Raiders, a team in playoff contention. So a legit finishing stanza there for the Cleveland Browns.
Your final 6 games of the season are going to be the absolute crucial stretch of this season, not only because it's the last games you're going to play, hopefully, before you get yourself into the playoffs, but you're talking about twice against the Ravens. Then you're going against the Las Vegas Raiders team. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback, but Derek Carr has an opportunity if he plays like he did a few years ago, and as he had played at times where he's very streaky. He's a very good quarterback. That could be a very dangerous team. We all know Green Bay was in the NFC Championship game last year. Then you're going at Pittsburgh on Monday night. That's going to be an incredible environment. Tough place to play. You finish in Cincinnati. That stretch is going to be very difficult, but if you're able to come out of that feeling pretty good with a pretty decent record, you have made yourself battle hardened for a great stretch run into the playoffs.
Right into the playoffs, tested, ready to go. To summarize, again, some of the quirks here. You get the Baltimore Ravens on those back-to-back games. No division game until Week 8 against the Steelers, and then it will be 6 of your final 10 in the division, including, as Joe just talked about there, 4 of your final 6 here in the division, where including 2 against the Ravens, 2 primetime games, really 3 of your final 6 in primetime. I'll count Christmas as well. So you add that to the Thursday nighter, 4 primetime games really for the Browns, where they will be the only game in town at that time slot. Folks, it's exciting. Now we know the path. Now we know the path. We know about this team on paper, and now we get a chance to hopefully see them in action, and we know it all starts in Kansas City. Joe, what an honor, what a pleasure to be with you for this historic schedule release show. Browns Live, 17 games here. It's been tremendous.
Yes. Tremendous is a great word for it, Nathan. This is a lot of fun because, like I said, this is Christmas morning, and then why don't you guys all come to Green Bay? Come visit me in Wisconsin on actual Christmas morning. Let's celebrate, hopefully at that point, an opportunity where the Browns put themselves solidly in first place in the division, and they can easily finish it out at Pittsburgh, home against Cincinnati, riding into the playoffs. And then maybe they're going to get an opportunity to see that week 1 opponent, the Kansas City Chiefs, again sometime in the playoffs, on their way, God willing, to a Super Bowl.
To the Super Bowl. Joe Thomas will have some of the king of all the meats there for Christmas in Wisconsin, folks, as we get ready for that one. But thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, right now, get on over to NFL Network for their schedule release show. I know the Hop's hopping on there in a few minutes as well. So tune into NFL Network at 8 for their schedule release show and see the schedule all around the NFL. And don't forget, Browns fans, to head to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to get your tickets to be a part of all the action and see your 2021 Cleveland Browns at First Energy Stadium. You know the slate, you know the opponents, and now it's all about the work. For everybody here, Drew, Baco, Joe Thomas, I'm Nathan Zagura, thanking you, the best fans in the NFL, for tuning into the Browns Live schedule release special presented by Vivid Seats official fan experiences. Good night, everybody, and let's go.